Skinny boy sliding in.
I still don't understand why you just don't start the chair back a little. And it seems like it'd be more comfortable.
Well, it would be more comfortable, but these don't have wheels on them. And I think it's less awkward for me to like do that weird scoochy thing in than it is for me to like try to jerk it
right
into front,
Yeah.
make sure I get back to my original position
I see. Yeah, no, neither one of those things was awkward. So I'm going to go ahead and start our timer.
Okay. I guess, yeah, no, let's get right down to booping. Boop.
Oh,
no, wait.
The delay, I know.
It doesn't delay if you pause. Okay.
I didn't pause.
I know.
I was close.
And I was worried that you did. And
you
that it was
looked
just
stricken.
I was. I still am a little bit. I'm still getting over it. But
Yeah.
I thought you did hit pause and it was going to do that 8-second delay.
I think we just need to get a new timer. This one's taking up way too much of our precious 30 minutes every week.
Maybe, but it looks nice. Like you can see the numbers. I know,
but we only have like 4 viewers. Like other people are listening to this.
Right.
So we have like 6 listeners and 3 viewers. So
we're almost up to 10 total combined subscribers.
Maybe today.
Oh no, we have 11 subscribers now on YouTube.
Maybe today is the day that I share it.
I mean, let's not be
Go
hasty.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Go crazy. All right.
Baby steps.
It's been kind of nice though, because I was kind of thinking like we started this as an experiment.
We did.
Of like, let's see if we even like it. Yeah. So I feel like maybe we're kind of, this is like the training wheel session. And who knows, maybe 2024, we go all in and just go bonkers with it.
What would be?
Promote it.
Oh, promote it. That would be going all in and going bonkers.
Yeah.
Okay. No, yeah. I just wanted to understand like what bonkers meant to you.
Well, for me, considering like most of the time I'm not even like, well, I'm still not. I can't say that I'm going to get back on Instagram to promote this.
Oh,
But I could put it at least on my website.
Right. Okay. Right. Yeah. So right now you don't have anywhere except like when you.
No, nowhere. Yeah.
You
not
tell
really,
Bailey about
not
it
really intentionally. No, not even her.
She doesn't even know.
Although she seems to know because she comes out every time we start to set up for this.
I feel like she's about to start barking here in just a minute.
I know. Yeah. She's got that look. Okay. But so actually this is kind of related and then we can follow up on our conversation last week.
Yes.
Or maybe it was the week before. But how are you liking being off of Instagram or are you back on?
Well, I pulled back a little bit after the book launch of Emergency Contact, available October 24th, everywhere you can find books. After our book launch, I was posting, for that week and leading up to it and everything. And I've taken a nice break and it feels really good. Like I'm still on it for messaging and like I kind of reflexively open it up in the morning, but then I'm now at the point where I pretty much immediately close it and I downloaded the Meta Business app, the business whatever thing, and you can do chat in that without all the temptation of
scrolling.
Tapping, yeah. So that's good, and yeah. So I'm enjoying not being on it. I'm enjoying not seeing how great everyone else's life is.
So I know, a lot of people use it for messaging, and I was saying that I'd watched that interview with the Instagram guy.
Yes.
CEO, whatever. And he was saying how the biggest growth has been in DMs.
Right.
But so when you're, and I guess I could maybe see that like for a business, but for you, like, are these not people that you have their phone number? Is that the situation?
Yeah. Most of them, I don't have their phone number because we'll be at a show together and then we'll connect up and then, they'll post a story or I will, and they'll respond and I'll respond to theirs or whatever. So something like the communication happens within, or it initiates within Squarespace, within Instagram.
So you do kind of have to be active then. If you're responding to their stories or they're responding to yours, that means you're posting and you're browsing their content.
Right. Well, that's less so now.
Okay.
In the last couple of weeks after our book launch.
Do you miss that part?
A little bit, because because Instagram does make it easy to kind of like maintain that friend group a little bit. Like whereas in high school or at work, or if you go to church or whatever, you're in these social networks in real life and you hang out with people and, I can only hang out with so many people a night at a club. It's just whoever else is on the show or the next show. And it's not like I get to see who's doing shows across town as much. Like I don't know that unless it's just word of mouth, and that's not really, it's all on Instagram. So that's one nice part is I can kind of like, I could see a little bit of what's going on, as we did naturally in schools and work and,
right. Really is a social network.
It really is a social network. But there's been a couple instances where I've taken the communication, almost like offline, so to speak, where I'll get somebody's phone number and we'll just finish texting there or calling each other to figure out something.
That makes sense.
It does make sense.
All right.
Yeah. Well, I say that, but I'm the one who said it, so it makes sense to me.
Just agreeing with yourself.
I am agreeing with myself, which is most of my conversation, my newsletters.
That is par for the course.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So you agree with me too?
I agree with you as well.
You're just agreeable, perhaps.
Yeah, I'm just happy and agreeable.
Okay.
You had a topic, I think, that you had broached.
I did. Why did I not write it down?
Ooh.
But it was at the beginning. It was related to Instagram because that was kind of my in. Give me a second. Oh, yes. No, I remember. Well, it's not even like it's going to be a jumble topic a little bit.
As opposed to our normal topics, which are well thought out.
Well, last week's was kind of like we had a very specific angle when we started out. But anyway, okay,
true.
Regardless.
Yeah.
So
I'm very agreeable.
Actually, before I even start,
yes.
Because I was just listening on Merriam-Webster, how do you pronounce the word niche?
Niche.
See, I don't think I do too. And I don't think that's right because Merriam-Webster had like 3 definitions. And I think it's like niche, and it had NISH.
Oh.
But I say niche too. So for the purpose of this conversation, I'm going to say niche, but because this is related.
Yeah, I'm not going to change right now.
And I have heard people say niche.
I have too, and I've always judged them.
I know, but then like if you figure...
But if I'm wrong, I need to know. Can one of our 11 YouTube subscribers, and actually I don't know what the aggregate subscriber numbers are on the podcast because the Spotify thing, it doesn't aggregate very well. So I know we have like 9 people on Spotify and then I'm probably 1 million on Apple Podcasts, but I don't know. Can one of you please tell us, message us, find us and tell us
No, don't do that because there's going to be like 1 billion different decisions or opinions, I think. I think it's one of those words.
But, so you think this is one of those words that's just open to interpretation?
Yeah, no, but I think you're not going to... I think we go with Merriam-Webster, not the peeps, the people.
Okay, well, question on Merriam-Webster, though, is I know that when they put in new words, and then some people get bent out of shape that it's like, well, that's not a real word. Why are you putting that in there? And Merriam-Webster's, the dictionary's stance is... Our job is we don't legislate the words, we just record them, right? You heard this?
Yeah, true.
So then are they doing that with pronunciations as well?
Yeah, good point.
So really, can we trust dictionaries or are they just copying down what people say and how they say it?
You know, I always think of Merriam-Webster as a female. Because the name Merriam, I know it's like probably like Merriam and Webster is probably 2 last names. I think it's hyphenated.
Yeah.
But Merriam sounds kind of like Marion, which
Yeah, it
sounds like,
does.
so I always like think of like the dictionary is like she said, kind of like Siri. It's like Siri and Merriam-Webster. If Merriam-Webster had a speaking voice, it would be feminine.
I would believe that.
I think. Okay, but anyway, so my topic.
Okay, yeah.
And like I said, for the purpose of this conversation, I'm going to say niche because
I
it's
am
going to be
too.
what's going to roll off my tongue.
We're drawing a line in the sand around our own little niche.
Yes. Good. Well played. Okay, so, and I think this probably came out. It did come out a couple of days ago in my journal, as most of these topics do.
Okay.
So the podcast listeners, you guys are basically just getting whatever happens in my
Morning pages?
my morning pages between me and my diary gets aired. But it did. So I don't even know how this came across. It was like most things in my journal, rambling. But I had this thought that, well, no, I'm going to take a step back.
Okay.
Let me take you all back to the true beginning.
Buckle up, kiddies. We're in for a real show here.
So as I've been kind of like dancing around on this and like on the podcast mentioning it, and then I think like, for a couple of years now, I've had this sort of like itch or urge to expand beyond just being an author.
Yes.
Like for 10 years, and this was, I wanted it this way, so it's not like this was foisted upon me. But for 10 years, it was like, what do you do? I'm an author. Like I identified first and foremost, is how I introduced myself, is how most crucially, it's how I thought of myself. And it's sort of like everything that I did was related to that. And I've been feeling myself like I want to do other things.
Yeah.
Like even podcaster as well. So like
Right.
now as I'm like working on this new website, I'm like, okay, I am an author and a screenwriter and a podcaster and a designer. Did I say designer?
You haven't yet.
And designer. And I mean, like, who knows what else that I want to put in there at some point. And I know that that's not like a new concept. Like there's a bunch of different
A multi-hyphenate.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going at. And there's
Yes.
a book that I think it's Emma Gannon. Gannon. I think it's Emma Gannon.
Don't know.
She wrote a book that's called the multi-hyphenate effect or something, and she has a Substack newsletter that's really good, and it is all about this concept of being all these things.
Okay.
So then I was thinking, though, where it gets kind of tricky is social media. This is like a long lead up. Sorry, guys. So where that gets, I think, kind of tricky is social media. Not that you can't do that, and not that people don't say, hey, I am all of these things, but increasingly at least for like creatives and for like, business owners, we're told over and over again, let's just take Instagram for an example, that you're supposed to niche down. Like
Right.
the entire focus and your website too. Like that's one thing that I've always encouraged people, like let them know when they get there, what they can expect from you. And if you're a multi-hyphenate, you've got a bunch of different stuff. Now,
Right.
Okay. And then what I was writing about in my journal is like, I like this idea of being a multi-hyphenate because I think that's human. Like most humans aren't just one thing. Like we have all these other things going on. But I was just thinking, isn't it kind of interesting how in real life, the people that in general, I think we find most interesting to like connect with and talk with, like the most interesting person at a cocktail party is usually that person that knows a bunch about a bunch of different topics. They're
Yes.
just more interesting. And yet on social media, we're almost like, nope, tamp that down.
Well,
what's your one thing essentially?
that's because I think most of us misuse social media. I don't know if it's a misuse, but it's a different use case than it was originally designed to be. And I'm going to call it misuse. We're misusing it to be more of the most nichiest TV station imaginable, where I would only follow this guy because he posts funny dog videos. Sure, he's probably a dad and a brother, and maybe he's a chef or something, but I will only follow him because he posts funny he does a voice for his dog or something that's really funny. And that's, I think, stupid. I think that's one way to use it, but I like the way of getting to know somebody as a human being. And I think that's more of a function of people are just following anybody and everybody because they provide these little bites of entertainment, as opposed to I'm going to follow Lauren Lane because I found her handle by Lauren Lane on Instagram because I like
but I'm not active.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Technically, you can find me there, but I haven't logged in probably a month.
Right. So I might follow you because I read your books or something, but the reason I'm following is the reason I'm sticking around is because I'd like to know, well, what does she have for dinner or something, or what I want to get to know her.
Man, hardcore disagree, I think. Well, so let me say I do agree in theory, and I like that idea. And I know that I'm like going to contradict myself a little bit here because on one hand, I'm like, I want to be all these things. I want to be the multi-hyphenate. But I find myself, and maybe this is just, maybe I am using social media wrong, but I have so many times, like I have followed an account of like an artist, like there's like a watercolor artist that I like, or like a floral illustration,
right,
or a calligrapher, like minimalist bullet journal, Animal Crossing, like all these things that I have. And if I really like that content, so I follow them. And then I can't even tell you how many times I've been like in stories and been like, who the heck are these children? Because these people, I'm not even joking. It's like their kid's school play, or they're, it's like their cat doing something funny. I'm like, who is this cat? Who is this person?
Right.
And like in reality, like I could, I guess, get to know them like as a person, but I'm like, I wanted the art. Like that's right. That's what I want.
Yes.
And I find too, like, and I think that's where it gets confusing. And maybe this is just a way that people mismessage on Instagram, or like misrepresent, because sometimes they do say like in their like bio, and I know the bio is like all important, they'll say like fashion illustrator or whatever, and you think,
sure,
okay, that's what it's about. Whereas I think if you do want to signal like, hey, this is like my account where I talk about like, this is my life, this is me, the human, then I almost think you need to say that. Like there's no rules about this.
You need to have like a content disclaimer or
I
something.
mean, like I do kind of wish, like, I mean, like I don't know. I would like to know.
Well, I think that's fair. I mean, I think that's just the different ways that you and I could theoretically use social media. I only want to use it for the social part of it. Mm-hmm. Like I'm only following comedians and family.
I see. So it's like people that you want to know all the behind the scenes.
Right. Yes. Like I'd like to follow what Paul's show. Like I want to learn that he's doing a show so I can go and see it. Whereas it's not like he's going to text me separately or something. Or if I'm going to a different city, it's like, oh, I'll see what Jim's been up to lately or something. So when I go to that town.
That makes sense. So yeah, we probably are using it differently.
Right. But I mean, I'm not going to say mine is better, even though it is. I'm not going to say that my way of using social media is better. But I mean, I'm going to hint at it.
I guess, yeah. I'm like, and maybe that's just, but I mean, like I've taken like all those like social media courses, like how to get whatever. And it really is like, let someone know why to follow you. And if it's just like I post about my life, and if I don't know you, I'd be like, why the heck would I follow you?
Yeah.
But I do find, and this is, I don't know, like maybe this is just because I do like the aesthetics of things. I've noticed that there are designers that I follow, not just like web designers, like there's specifically a like wedding stationery gal that I follow, and she does occasionally post. I'm like, who's this woman? Like, or she'll post pictures of like her husband, or like if she has a dog. Like she'll occasionally post pictures, and I have no idea who this person is. I don't know. She doesn't live here. Like I don't know what countries. Like I don't know anything about her.
Right.
But when she shares like her travel pictures or like some like whatever, it's like artistic, and she like has a filter on it. Or maybe not a filter, but like her photos are edited, and she uses like Unfold or something. You know,
right.
like uses an app. And like so, yes, it's still her live pictures, but it's like it's aesthetically pleasing. And maybe this is just so superficial, but like I like that. The same thing with, I always mention Saffron Avenue. She's one of my favorite designers, and she does post like life stuff, and I don't know her in real life at all, but like if she's doing that, I showed you that picture when she was like, you know, pushing her baby in her stroller,
yeah,
and it was like, you know, like the perfect fall day, and she did it like it was all pretty, and then like, you know, like had a little handwriting thing.
Right.
I think maybe that's because like maybe it just sort of signals, yes, they're like sharing stuff about their life, but like they're putting like a little bit of like intention in it, as opposed to just, you know, like the people that go around like walking, and I've totally have done this, just like, you know, walking around taking a picture of like you went into Starbucks today, and like you walk past the store and it was cute.
Well, I think part of it is consistency. Yeah, do we want to get her a pad?
Yeah, I think we should get her a pad.
Go for it.
Okay.
I mean, I can still talk and you'll hear me. For the people that are listening don't know, but the people that are watching know that you've now left your seat. But because our apartment's tiny enough, you can still hear me. But where was I going with this? I was going to say, I think consistency is the key. So if you are going to post pictures about your children, if you're an illustrator or whatever, and you do occasionally post some behind the scenes stuff or pictures of your children, do it, but do it consistently, I guess. You know, or I don't know. Maybe it's not even an issue. Maybe it's just people will come and go into your life on social networks, and you don't need to worry about it. You can kind of be free to be whoever you are. So if you are an illustrator and you post about illustrations, great. And the occasional kid pic, well, just know that you might lose the Laurens of the world, you know, who are only here for the art, unless it's, you know, beautifully presented, if that makes sense. I mean, I'm pigeonholing you into a niche.
I'm back, people. Yeah, I guess. I mean, like, and I really don't think there's a right and wrong way to do social media or Instagram. And I think the fact that we're even like having this conversation kind of makes it like, maybe like that's part of the problem. Like people like use it however you want. And I actually really do mean that. I was thinking it was interesting that like we're always, like we've seen the rise of the multi-hyphenate a little bit. Right? I've seen that more and more coming up as like, okay, let's embrace that instead of just, I am this one thing. It's like, well, no, I'm a lot of things because I'm a person. But then translating that to like when you're trying to be to tie in, because we're candid creatives, right? We're talking about being like a professional creative. And like, I don't know, I almost think you do have to take those things into consideration if you want to be a creative professionally.
Do take what things?
Like what you, not what you stand for, like that's too, like what you do. Like even when you were doing like cooking videos and comedy videos at the same time, and even like we had a friend who was like, oh yeah, like, you know, like I had people over watch your cooking videos, but then they weren't into comedy. And so we're like, oh, I thought he did cooking. And then, you know, like you lost them a little, no, you lost them. Like they're still friends, whatever. Well, but like they were super into Anthony Don. Like they loved your cooking stuff, and they don't like stand up really. So it was kind of like,
yeah, well, I think that's my misuse. It's a miscommunication of what my channel is, or I guess was about, because I haven't added a bunch of stuff there lately. But I was posting cooking videos for a while, and then I'd occasionally post a comedy video, and I think everybody was confused. I think I kind of approached it as if, hey, this is my channel. This is who I am as a human. I treated it as a social friggin' network where if you'd like to...
But YouTube too?
I did.
YouTube as well?
Yes,
Okay,
YouTube
okay.
as well. That I think is maybe a misuse of it. I'm not... I think if my goal was to get a bunch of followers or whatever, then yeah, I should just do one thing. I should niche down. I should have a channel just for cooking and a channel just for comedy.
So your goal on YouTube is not to get followers. No. That came out really wrong. That is not at all. No, I'm just asking like.
I want as few followers as possible.
No, because this is exactly what I mean. Like if you want, and I'm really not even like preaching this, but this is the kind of stuff I'm thinking about like all the time, especially as I'm trying to become a multi-hyphenate, is like, what is then a business plan to, or do you just not even care about that? Do you just put stuff out and like hope they'll come? I'm the same way on YouTube. Like, I don't think YouTube is as much a social, it's not a social network. I don't think.
I think it's TV.
I think it's the content platform. And I have to say, like, I don't think I would follow someone if they were just like, this is my life. I post about whatever I want. I'm like, are you productivity videos? Are you going to teach me Notion? Right. Do you do like, planner unboxings, which if you're in the planner community, you know what that is?
Yeah. I mean, I misused it in that sense. But I also didn't care enough. Like, I don't like YouTube. I don't like it.
But if you're watching, hi.
I know. Yeah. I mean, thank you for being, well, that's the thing. Actually, I kind of niched down on the Candid Creatives thing. I created a totally separate channel just for that. So these people that are watching on YouTube might not even know that you and I have individual channels.
You know what? YouTube is really growing on me. I guess this topic is all over the place.
It is all over the place. And as much as I say YouTube is stupid, it is growing on me a little bit. I think because I have learned how to use it a little bit better.
I agree.
And it is just for how-to videos or product reviews for new camera lenses, for me, or how to use this Canon C70 a little bit better.
Well, and in general, I think people take a lot, and mostly because I've watched you do this, like you do video editing all the time, and like you edit these the Candid Creatives, like for the 8 people watching. But like, man, those like are a lot of work, and you like know what you're doing and have it down. And like, it still is not a small amount of time. And so I'm just, like I said, I'm dipping my toe a little bit more into YouTube, and I think the overall like quality of the creations is, because they're meant to be different, right? It's just higher than what you get on social, like I'm not really on TikTok, so I can't speak to that. But like, I think that is a lot more organic and just like, oh, you take a picture of whatever you're doing or a video of whatever you're doing and post it. And I like that YouTube in general, it seems like it requires, or at least inspires, a bit more forethought from creators.
I agree. I actually and maybe that's that's a point in the pro side and the pro and cons of YouTube for me, where do you remember that? I can't remember what book it was, but it was Jared Lanier's whatever book. And he was saying his goal is to spend 100 times more time producing a piece of content than it takes to consume it.
Oh, I had forgotten.
So if it's a
that.
1-minute video, it should take at least 100 minutes to make it. And I really like that.
I do too.
Because it's almost like you can then distill quality into that video. And if it's a 10-minute video, then it's going to be 1,000 minutes. It's going to be several hours of planning, shooting, editing, and everything. But you generally get a better result there. Whereas I don't know if it's worth it on Instagram. Yeah. And TikTok, nobody cares because they're just ready to flip to the next video.
Well, I was actually thinking today, guess what? In my journal, as I don't even know how I got to this point, but I was kind of thinking, I know, I was just enjoying. I'm at the end of this particular journal. Like it's in like my last couple of pages, and I was talking to my journal. I'm like, I like you, diary. But I was thinking like, how much just that process of like sitting down with that pen and paper every morning, like it's not much like there's no like it's not like productive in the traditional sense.
Right.
It's not like I'm contributing anything like specific to my day, just like scrolling through Instagram, kind of the same thing. But for some reason, like I feel after I've done the journal thing, like I feel like fuller somehow, or like that it like gives me energy. Whereas after coming off Instagram, and it could be like TikTok and Twitter too. I just haven't used those in years, so don't know. But like that feels like it drains me, and it feels like a little more hollow.
Wait, sorry, what feels more hollow? Social media stuff?
Scrolling on Instagram.
Oh, totally.
But when I say like I don't, and granted, like I don't spend much time on YouTube. Like I know that there's a bunch of junk on YouTube too, as well. I'm not saying it's like all gold there, but I feel that way a little bit less on YouTube, and I think it's because I'm usually searching for something quite specific.
Right.
You know, like I don't know how other people use YouTube, but like I would never just log in and like, what's recommended for me?
Well, number one, I never log in, so it doesn't know who I am.
I started doing that. And you know what? My suggestions were better when I didn't do that. And it just had me like cached. I know you probably use a private window.
I use a private window every time. I don't want YouTube knowing anything about me.
All right.
Mostly because I also want to force myself to search for what I don't want it recommending anything to me. Because
they don't even do a good job. So even if you were logged in, I can tell you like the stuff that gets recommended to me is like car videos. And I'm like, I have never watched this in my life. And it seriously says, and it's not promoted. I mean, some of them
really?
Yeah, it's really weird. Or it'll give me like, they really want to push the news.
Well, yeah, I don't know if we've talked about it on this podcast, but you've read those studies where it's like, it takes about 12 videos to train YouTube to then basically push you from moderately conservative to super right, or from moderately liberal to like far left. Like it learns and it reiterates, and then it's like, oh no, we know you're now on the QAnon path.
Yeah, I'm mostly there for the Notion videos, and it doesn't give me Notion videos. I have to go look for Notion videos.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a quantity thing. Maybe they don't maybe there's a ton of crappy, inaccurate news type videos out there.
Maybe, yeah.
And yeah.
Well, you know, one thing I did was I actually have a note now of all the channels that I really like that normally I would follow.
Oh, that's a great idea.
But I don't follow because I'm not logged in because I wear my tinfoil hat. But I open up notes and I just click on each of those links like once a week, and I see, well, who has a new video, and I'll spend a few minutes watching those new videos, and that's it.
You know what I did that I borrowed the idea from, this is related. I borrowed the idea from, I think his name is Aaron Ross. He's the one that I sent you that video on how he sets up Apple Notes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I've watched it like 10 times because I'm like, gosh, this is sort of what I want to do. And it's just so clean and minimalist. And that's Apple Notes is an entire different conversation. But he has he doesn't have very many folders at all, but one of them just is called lists. And for him, it's like a to-do list and like a grocery list. And I think he has a couple, or maybe like a watch list, like TV shows or movies that he wants to watch. But I've started doing that, and I really, really like it because then you don't get this, it's like clean and tidy. You don't get this whole like unwieldy note that just keeps growing that has all this stuff in it, or you don't have like 50 new notes of like bookmarks basically. Because that's one thing I was using notes for. It was essentially like a bookmark. But anyway, I was thinking I should do the same thing and create a list in my list folder. Well, this is YouTube channels. Yeah. Because I know who I like, and I've never, as much as I said I'm into YouTube now, like I've never subscribed to a channel ever.
Not even mine?
No.
Is it because I was doing a mix of comedy and cooking?
Yeah, that's exactly it. You were multi-hyphenate and you didn't advertise that. So I got confused.
Well, I did have comedy and cooking in my little header thing.
I don't even think I've been to your YouTube channel, but so I will. I'll subscribe.
Thanks for the support.
I don't even know what subscribing, I don't even know what that means. Like, what happens when you subscribe?
Well, theoretically, viewers get notified when you post a new video, but that actually doesn't happen. All you see, unless you click the little bell. So you can subscribe, and then you have to click the little bell separately to get notified.
So it's almost kind of like on Instagram, you can follow, but there's no guarantee you're going to get the post unless you add like favorites or whatever. Right.
Or unless you do what I do now on Instagram. Well, I actually haven't done it now for weeks, but I went up to the top and clicked following. Or no, yeah, I think following, and then like if you click the Instagram logo at the top and then switch to following, that will only show you people you're following, and I think it also only shows it in chronological order. I like that. It's like going back in time. Yeah, it's the good old days. Okay, so we have 1 minute, 2 minutes left. Okay. Going to our multi-hyphenate, I don't know what this video is going to be about. Good luck coming up with a title. Well, we should have niched down in this video. We should have niched down. So do you consider yourself a multi-hyphenate? I might have to go take a niche. I'm not laughing at that. Nope. It was an attempt. It was a try. No, okay. Wait, what did you ask? Do I consider myself a multi-hyphenate? Are you mad that I didn't laugh at it? You're jarred now. I'm a little bit thrown. I'm a little bit thrown off. Yeah. Do you consider yourself a multi-hyphenate? Yeah, that's it. No. Only because I have a personal prejudice against the idea of being a multi-hyphenate. I would like to be... Twist. I always think of you as like the definition of multi-hyphenate. Well, yeah. Okay, so keep going.
I'm flabbergasted right now.
maybe it's my desire to actually be good at one thing.
Oh, I see.
Maybe I should say my desire to be great at one thing.
Okay, so no hyphens. Then what's your one thing that you want to be great at?
Comedy.
Comedy.
I think of it more as like that's the tip of the spear, and most of the shaft as well. But like that gets in, and then there's other stuff that kind of follows. Like that's the tip of the spear, I guess, to use the analogy correctly. And then there's other things that I do, but I would like to be known as a comedian.
I see. Okay. All right.
But because I don't even like the term podcaster. I know that's what we are in doing this, but I just like when I hear,
I don't like it either.
We have 14 seconds. If
you can finish your thought, I will allow.
Okay. All right. We have extended time. This is like one of those communist soccer games or something out in Europe. I guess that was a joke maybe that would have worked in like the 70s.
Or somebody that follows sports. That just went right over my head.
I was mostly making fun of like the commie Europe, but it's not really comedy. Anyway, see, this is why I want to be known for being great at comedy. I have to work at it. I have to stop being a multi-hyphenate. But I feel like if to call myself a podcaster, I would have to do this full time. Like that's I would have to be a podcaster. I do podcasts, and we do them once a week. It's great. But I would rather be a comedian who has a podcast than I'm a podcast. Even though I have that on my website, and I should just not have it on there. I don't know. I don't know. I'm all over the place. I haven't niched.
Yeah, I feel like we are not in an antagonistic way, but I feel like we are less of like mind on this topic than we often are here. Not that I'm like even like disagreeing. Mostly I'm just thrown. I thought we were of the same mind and we're not. So now I'm going to go ponder that.
Well, I could just be in a mood.
We don't seem like you're in a mood. I don't think it's it's not even like really something to like argue. It's like, I really do mean this. Like, it's not like there's no right and wrong, but I mean, there isn't. Like, it is just like, it's not what I expected you to say.
Yeah.
Because you are like, you do the food videos and like for a while there, like photography was in there and you do, I know that you would never like put this, even if you were a multi-hyphenate, it wouldn't be on your main list, but I'm like, you do a lot of website updates for authors. Like you are like the website nerd guru.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you spend time on that and you do like video editing for other people and yeah.
Yeah. I'm
puzzling over
a jack of all trades.
All right.
What about you? What's your niche? Or are you? Wait, what was the question you asked me? What's your thought on multi-hyphenate?
I asked if you consider yourself a multi-hyphenate, and you said no. And so I just, like I said, yeah.
Well, I think there's a difference between do I consider myself and what do I want to be.
Oh, okay, that makes sense to me.
So, like right now.
Wait. Okay, so you want to niche down to a comedian, but you don't want your Instagram. Let's just take Instagram. Uh-huh. You don't want your Instagram or your YouTube to only be about comedy? You want to be able to talk about all those things?
Instagram, I would treat differently than YouTube. I would treat those two differently. Mm-hmm. I understand if I'm going to do well on YouTube, and the definition of do well here is, let's just arbitrarily pick followers or subscribers. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So if I'm going to do well on YouTube, I should, I think, pick one or separate them out. Have cooking videos on one channel, comedy videos on the other.
So then what about your website? Because this is something that we don't talk about a lot, but like it's come up and I never know like how to even, not that you've asked my advice on this, but like your website is very much comedy focused.
Yes.
You know, like your hero image, right, is you on stage and it's like anything on comedian and it's kind of branded like a comedian, which makes sense given this conversation.
Right.
But then you also like you've got that blog that has a lot of food stuff, and I know that we were just talking about Pinterest the other day and how Pinterest is driving traffic, but Pinterest is only like there's not much comedy stuff happening on Pinterest, right? So it's the food stuff. Like, if you want to be known as a comedian, why not get rid of that? Just in theory, I know like you're saying it's traffic, but like people that are.
Well, see, I would treat website differently than my website differently than I would treat YouTube. So for my website, I'm okay branding as a comic, being a comedian, and then I just happen to have thoughts, so I write a blog, and I happen to have recipes on there because I cook, and I actually use it to look up my own recipes, and so I don't really care. It's almost like I'm a spaceship going to Jupiter or something, It's a short trip, I guess. It's just gonna be a few years. But we're only going to Jupiter. But you can jump on if you're going someplace else along the way. I don't know why I picked a spaceship. There's not a lot like on the way. So maybe
I was like kind of trying to follow that one. Like
maybe I'll say like I'm a bus going from driving from New York to L.A. and you're welcome to hop on if you're just here to get to Indianapolis. Great. And then, you're just here for the recipes. Cool. And then you can jump off. Or you can be along for the whole ride,
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
Yeah, so that I'm not too concerned about because I don't think I'm going to lose. I would rather give people any excuse to join my world on my website. And if it's learning how to make a cocktail, great, or cooking, great, or just if you're just here to see my show dates, great.
Well, then I think you should. Here's a website consultation that you did not ask for.
Free? Are you on the clock?
This one's free. This is so your website is comedy focused right now. Like it just looks like one. Like I wonder if you don't kind of go back to where you were a couple years, your website design from a couple years ago, where it's just more like, hey, I'm a person, not like Anthony LaDon, comedian, because then it does seem really random and you're like, but you can get my recipes. It's almost more like it was like more informal, like as a person, like, hey, I'm Anthony, I live in New York. I do all, it would be like the multi-hyphenate. Like I do all these things.
Yeah, maybe that's not, willing to explore that.
If your goal with the website is to be like, hey, thanks for being here. Here's some stuff that I cooked. Here's some, here's when I'm up on stage. Here's this picture that I took. Here's a thought that I had on whatever. Here's me and my wife talking about, rambling about this very topic. Like,
right. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Just a thought.
Yeah. What about you? Are you a multi-hyphenate?
Oh man. I feel like that's another podcast episode. I'm thinking about, I'm the opposite of you. I think I would like to be a multi-hyphenate.
Okay.
And my big question is conveying, not that I have to convey it, like nobody's asking. Like, what are you these days?
What are you conveying?
But like I do, especially, I think because for me, I'm pivoting a little bit, like that. And I would like to, I don't have like a ton of followers or anything. Like I think I have like 4,000 on Instagram, but like I would like to tell those 4,000 people like, hey, you're probably not going to just be seeing book stuff from me next time if I get back on Instagram. I don't know if I will.
Right.
All right. Yeah. So that's another topic.
That is another topic.
But yeah, so I think I'm an aspiring multi-hyphenate.
Okay.
And it's uncharted waters for me. So yeah, we went over.
We'll
I can't believe I let us go over. You know how strict I am with the 30 minutes. So he looks pretty giddy right now.
I am pretty excited. This is great.
But now I'm cutting it off.
Okay, so now we're cutting it.
You've had enough fun.
Thanks.
You've had enough of this loosey-goosey timeline.
Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you guys.
To Candid Creatives every Tuesday. These are released. Last one was a little bit later. Normally I release them at like 4 a.m, but this one I think I released at like 10 or 11 or something last week. So, but yeah, every Tuesday, Candid Creatives. You can follow us online at Anthony LaDon on Instagram and by Lauren Lane on Instagram. And then we both have our own YouTube channels as well.
Nothing is on my YouTube channel.
Nothing is on Lauren's YouTube channel.
Nobody get excited. It has 0 videos, but I'm working on it.
That's right.
This will be one of my hyphens.
All right. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. And I don't know. Actually, that was a botched ending. I'm not going to edit that out because it's going to take too much time. But that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye.